Good afternoon. It is May 5th, 2020. It's my third Clubcast video, which is really fun. I'm so grateful for everybody who's been tuning in and commenting their names. Today I have a really fun lesson planned. We're going to talk about rainbows and density, two really fun projects that involve rainbows. I feel like I put this fun background. I look like I'm on a rainbow. And yeah, so we are going to get started on our lesson. Here is our overview. So we're going to start like we do every Club Chaos with a little did you know, get our brains going, create your own rainbow. So this is going to be our movement activity for today. Unfortunately, it's a little cloudy. Oh, I kind of see the sun coming out, but we are going to you can either use the sunlight, a flashlight, a cup of water, and a piece of white paper to see some rainbow prisms, just easy as that. And then we're going to go into talking about some vocabulary. We have a read aloud, and then I have our final project of the day, which is our water density rainbow experiment. Did you know? Having really fun. So we typically think of rainbows as those things that we see after it kind of rains and the sun comes out. There are many ways that we can see rainbows. They can occur in fog, in mist, sea spray, waterfalls, and anywhere where light meets water in the sky, and the angles are conducive for making these rainbows. But there are also very, very rare rainbows. Actually, they're not called rainbows, they're called moonbows, and that's what these pictures are here on my slide. And they are made at night by the light of the moon. So through our eyes, we see them typically as white, although these have some colors. A moonbow is also commonly referred to as a lunar rainbow. A moonbow is a rare natural atmospheric phenomena that occurs when the moon's light is reflected and refracted off water droplets in the air. They also say that these moonbows are a great time to look for unicorns. So that might be something fun to check out. If you do see a moonbow, you might find a unicorn. Maybe. I don't know. We're going to make our own rainbow for our movement activity today. The only materials we're going to need is a glass with some water, sunlight or a flashlight, like I said earlier, and some white paper. All right, our make your own rainbow activity. I have my flashlight, my cup of water, and my white paper. So what we're gonna do is you can put this, you can do it in a lot of different ways, but I'm just gonna put this here, and then I'm going to shine my flashlight. And yeah, so it's making some prisms, and we have a read aloud today that is going to talk more about that. But as you can see, it's the light, and depending on the flashlight you have or kind of the angle you're coming at, you can see different kinds of light. This looks more like a moonbow to me, so maybe a unicorn is nearby. And I have an LED flashlight. It's a bright, bright flashlight. And so that might make different kinds of lights. Like if you have a warmer lit flashlight, that might work. I'm kind of seeing, do you see the arc with the rainbow? That's so cool. So get up and make a rainbow right now. It's so fun. And all you need are just 3 really simple supplies that I'm sure you have around the house. Vocabulary. Our first vocabulary word is simile. So in my past 2 Clubcast videos, we've been talking about these literary terms. We talked about alliteration, which is repeating the same letter through, at the beginning of words throughout the sentence. And then last week the last time I was up here, we spoke about personification, which is giving human qualities to non-human things. And this week we're talking about similes. Similes are an easy one to remember because it's a phrase that begins with words as or like. So it directly compares 2 different things. So her dress was like a rainbow, meaning that she had a very colorful dress on. A fun thing, I have a little poetry blurb here I found on Google, obviously. And something fun you can do is make a poem using all the colors of the rainbow and similes. You can blend those. So I'll read you my poem really quick. And then you can write your own, maybe even come up with a few. That's something fun you can do. So, red as a raspberry, orange as a tabby cat, is yellow as the sun, is green as the grass, is as blue as the ocean, and is as purple as a grape. So those are all examples of similes because you can see as, and then here it says like. So If you're taking a test and you come upon that and you see the words like or as, maybe it's a simile. Maybe that's the right answer. So something good. Those are really key words that will let you know that that is a simile that you're looking at. Our project today, our second vocabulary word is density, and our project today is a density experiment, basically. So density is a measurement that compares the amount of matter an object has to its volume. So an object with a lot of matter in a certain amount of volume has high density, and an object with a little matter in the same amount of volume has a low density. And so density is all about the compactness of a space. So for this experiment, we're going to use sugar and water and food coloring. And so the more sugar that we put in our glass, the greater the density of the water. The denser the substance, the more likely it will sink. And that is how we're going to conduct our experiment and how we're going to get the layer of colors that we're looking for in our density rainbow project. And I can't wait to do that and explain a little bit more about that in a little bit. The rainbow mystery. So that is our read aloud of the day. We're going to solve some rainbow mysteries. We kind of already did a project that they recommend doing from this book. And so it's colors on the loose. Rainbows suddenly appear and disappear on Annie's wall. Find out how she and her sidekick Mike hunt down the clues and solve the mystery. So we're going to get reading the rainbow mystery. Have you ever wanted to be a detective? It's not easy, I know. I tried to solve a mystery once, a rainbow mystery. I was in the family room with my friend Mike. Mike never says much. Mom says that's why I like him. I'm loud, Mike is quiet. I talk, he listens. We were making a fort from a big box. Mike had found the box by the house next door. He was cutting out a window. I was telling him what to do. That's when I saw them. Hundreds of little rainbows. Mike, look, I yelled. Mike looked. He almost fell over. The little rainbows danced across the wall. That's an example of personification, if you were wondering. The rainbows danced across the wall. Wow, was all he said. We watched the rainbows. They faded away. Then they were gone. We jumped up and ran outside. No rain, said Mike. I knew what he meant. Everyone knows rainbows come when it rains, but it wasn't raining. How could there be a rainbow without rain? I started thinking. One time I saw a rainbow in a patch of oil, I said. It wasn't raining then. We looked. There was no patch of oil. Last summer I saw a rainbow in a sprinkler, I said. Was there a sprinkler nearby? No. I remembered another time I saw a rainbow. My friend Kelly has a glass teardrop necklace. It makes a rainbow when the light hits it. I didn't bother to look. I knew there were no glass teardrop necklaces around. Mike and I sat down on the steps. It was late. The sun was low in the sky. We have to be detectives. We have to solve this mystery, I said. Mike nodded. Mike came over real early the next morning. We sat like statues in the new fort. We waited and waited. No rainbows. The day after that, Mike came for lunch. We waited in the fort again. Still no rainbows. Monday was rainy. Mike thought for sure we would see the little rainbows again, but the rainbows didn't come. On Tuesday, Kelly wore her teardrop necklace to school. I didn't think the necklace would help, but I didn't have any other clues. Can you make a rainbow? I asked her. I can try, Kelly said. She stood by the window and moved her necklace in the light. Look, I yelled. The teacher came over. He's a really nice guy. I showed him the rainbow. Terrific, Mr. Royal said. He called the other kids over. Kelly's necklace is like a prism, Mr. Royal told us. A prism is a special piece of clear glass or plastic. It separates light into the 7 rainbow colors. A prism? Maybe a prism made the rainbows on the wall of my house. Mr. Royal didn't say anything else about prisms, but he told us stuff about rainbows. I wrote it all down. After school, I told Mike about the necklace. It's a clue, I said, but I don't know enough about prisms, Mike nodded. He got a look in his eye. I knew what he was going to say. The library, he said. So we went to the library and picked out a whole stack of books on rainbows and prisms. I think you guys should be like Mike and, oh, I'm drawing a blank on her name. Think you should be like the characters in the book and do some research on rainbows on your own online. You can share what you learned below in the comments. The librarian was new. She smiled and turned to the computer screen. Look, she said, we're neighbors. I'm Miss Reed. I bought the house next to yours. I moved in just last week. She seemed nice. I'm Annie. This is Mike. Annie is her name. That makes more sense. I said, Mike tugged on my sleeve. That meant hurry up. He wanted to work on the mystery. Come visit sometime, Miss Reed said. Okay, I told her. I flopped on the couch with a fat book. I started reading out loud. A rainbow is made when sunlight is bent by raindrops in the air. A prism bends sunlight too. Mike said nothing. Instead, he gasped. The rainbows were back. I got up. I touched them. The rainbows showed on my fingers too. All 7 colors were there. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. Then I thought of something. What time is it? I asked Mike. Mike looked at his watch. 5 o'clock. Aha! It's the same time as before, I said. The rainbows in the morning are at noon. We only saw them after school. Mike nodded. The sun, he said. Yes, I said. I remember this poster at school. It must have to do with where the sun is. And there's a little poster she has where the sun, it comes up and it's the highest at noon and then it keeps setting down for the sunset. Like one person, we turned around and stared out the window. So where is it? Mike asked. I don't know. Let's go outside and look. Go outside, take a look where the sun is right now if you'd like. The sun's kind of starting to come out, which is wonderful. We rushed outside. No wonder we couldn't see the sun from the family room. It was behind the house next door. The answer to our mystery is in that house, I said. Mike nodded. At exactly 4:30 the next day, we rang the doorbell of Miss Reed's house. Annie, Mike, she said, you came for a visit. Come in. We followed her inside. Before I could stop myself, the question burst out of me. Miss Reed, do you have a prism in your house? Miss Reed looked puzzled. A prism? No, I don't think so. I was sad to hear that, but I didn't give up. Miss Reed could have a prism and not know it. She gave us lemonade and cookies. Then she asked if we'd like a tour of the house. Yes, Mike said in an instant. Miss Reed showed us the dining room. No prisms anywhere. Then we went into the living room. Still no prisms. We took the stairs to the 2nd floor. The answer had to be up there. This is the music room, Miss Reed said. She opened a door. My favorite part is the chandelier. I just bought it. I had no idea what a chandelier was. Maybe the fancy light on the ceiling, but I didn't care. I was looking for prisms. On the floor, in the cabinet on the walls, then Mike grabbed my arm. The sun had come out from behind a cloud. Light streamed into the room. It hit the glass chandelier, and rainbows danced on the wall next to the window, just like in my family room. I ran to the window. Yes, I could see into my house. I could see into the family room. I could see the rainbows on the wall, too. For once, I had nothing to say, but Mike did. The glass chandelier is like a bunch of prisms, he yelled. I stared at him. It was the longest sentence I'd ever heard him say. What do you mean? Miss Reed asked. I told her the whole story about the rainbows and Kelly's necklace and the library books. I even told her about making the fort from the big box Mike found outside. A big box? Miss Reed asked. Was it by my house? Yes, I said. The chandelier came in that box, she said. I looked at Mike. Mike looked at me. The box, the biggest clue of all, was in my house the whole time. Some detectives we were. So they figured out that the chandelier at Miss Reed's house was causing um, the rainbows to show up. And now they kind of say to have the paper or the project that we did, and theirs is a little different. So we need a clear plastic cup or glass half full of water, a flashlight, a sheet of white paper. So carefully put the cup on a table or a counter so that a third of it hangs over the edge. Hold the paper behind the cup while you shine the flashlight up through the bottom of it. What do you see? What conclusions can you draw? Something to think about. For our water density rainbow, we'll need 6 glasses or cups. I'm just going to use 4. 1 measuring cup, 1 measuring teaspoon or tablespoon, warm water, sugar, food coloring, and a baster or a pipette. So first things first, I'm going to gather all of my materials, and then I'm going to fill each of the glasses with 1 cup of water. I'm going to use coloring tablets or food coloring to dye the water as a different bright color in each glass and stir it completely. Step 4, measure and add a different amount of sugar to each glass of colored water. I have cut it down to 4 colors, but you can experiment with all of them. So red color gets 2 tablespoons, yellow color 4, green 6, blue color 8. Step 5, stir until as much of the sugar is dissolved as possible. And then you're going to use your baster or pipette to create a colorful rainbow tower. Our project today, it's a really fun project that I think you can try at home. All you'll need is just a couple of glasses, depending on how many different colors you want. I'm just going to do 4. It makes it a little simpler. That's what I recommend. But make as many as you want because you can mix these colors. Then I need some of my food coloring I have here. I have warm water. You're going to need 4 cups of warm water. You're going to need some measuring utensils on just 1 cup, and then a tablespoon for our sugar that we have here. And then just a baster or a pipette, even a clear straw you can suction using your finger. So just something to be able to suction and suck water up into it. And this is where we're going to see our rainbow. Something really fun you can try at home. And obviously it might get a little messy. So I have my rag for cleaning up spills, which you might want to have nearby as well. Get started with our project. The first thing we're going to do, think back to the procedure I read through, we're going to add 1 cup of water. So we want to make sure that we're being thorough with our measurements. That's really important in the science world and experimenting, because especially because we're trying to do a density project. So we want to make sure it all has the same amount of water so that we can really notice those density differences when we're trying to create our rainbow tower in our baster. So I'm going to add 1 cup. I'm going to use the measuring cup. So we want to make sure that we're measuring and making sure that they're all getting 1 cup of water. So if you can see my glasses on here, now is time to add our food coloring. So we want our water to be warm because I'm going to start adding our sugar now. We want our water to be warm because it really makes dissolving the sugar a lot easier. So, sugar. And in the blue cup, or in the red cup, we can think back, we can think how many tablespoons did it need in the red. If you said 2, you got it going on. We're going to put 2 tablespoons into the red. So count with me at home if you want. 1, 2. And then we're going to add 2 more. So we added 2 here, and we want to add 2 more here. It's 2 plus 2. I'm going to add 4 tablespoons into the yellow. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'm going to add 4, and I want to add 2 more. So 4 plus 2 is 6. I want to add 6 tablespoons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and now I want to add 2 more into the blue. So 6 plus 2 is 8. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, we're making a mess, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Perfect. Now we just really want to make sure we stir it up and like make sure that the sugar is dissolved into each. 2 tablespoons went in the red, so that means that this is the least dense mixture. And then as it goes up, the more stuff, so we put a total of 8. That's the most tablespoons we've put in. That means that the blue is going to be the most dense. So the more dense it is, the more likely it is to sink, and that's what we're going to see when we are making our rainbow tower. So let's keep stirring, and let's stir here. Six to the green, so green's going to be more dense than the red and the yellow. You could mix red and the blue and make a violet. You can mix yellow and the red and make orange. You can mix all the colors and get a bunch of different colors, or you can just do the basic 4 just to get started. Another fun thing you could do is see if adding salt or any other sort of substance could increase or decrease density and what that might look like. That would be another fun thing you could do just to add on to the project. But today we are just doing sugar rainbow waters, all sorts of water, all sorts of stuff you might have just hanging out at home. Turkey baster, these are fun. Pipettes are always fun to do it with. So that was the fun part. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sink it down to the bottom and suck up some red. And then I'm going to keep doing that throughout. And there's the yellow. All right, so now that our sugar is nice and dissolved, we are going to try to maneuver how to do this using a turkey baster. So sometimes you have these big ideas of how things are going to go. I feel like this is a great lesson on being a little disappointed about the reaction or how this all can go. So I'm going to try. So just bear with me, and you can try at home and see like if you figured out that using something different than this worked better. If you use salt instead of sugar, let's talk and like see if we can troubleshoot all of this. So I'm going to squeeze a little bit of red, and then I'm going to squeeze a little bit of the yellow or orange, a little bit of the green, and a little bit of the blue. So for like a split second, what it did was I see that it's blended all together. So maybe what I could do is add more sugar or less sugar, add more food coloring, or maybe just use a different squeezy tool. Maybe this baster isn't going so great. So let's see if I can, I'm just gonna blend. So it's not layering so far. Just see what works. You know, you can just kind of experiment. See, it's just gonna blend into this big black blob. But I really think this is something you should set up at home and see what works best for you. Everybody's going to be different. Everybody's utensils and that kind of stuff are different. Use different materials. You can use different substances. Like I said, you could add salt, you can add sugar, any of that. So just kind of play around with it. I think that this would be a really fun thing you can set up easily at home with your siblings and just give it a try. And see if you can get it to layer. I'm going to keep trying, but we'll see. Okay, so greetings, we're going to try again. I found some pipettes. A little different than the baster, so let's see if I can get a full rainbow tower going in one of these pipettes. So I'm going to squeeze again a little bit of the red, get down to the bottom. Okay, it's already kind of, okay. Get to the yellow orange. Oh, here we go. A little bit of the green. a little bit of the blue. And it does kind of start to mix, but this is really fun. So I kind of saw it. I don't know if you can see it from your screen at home, but I really want you to try this. A little bit of the red. You can kind of see the blending here if you can. Hold my hand. Yellow's down here, red is up here. Now here we go. We're going to add some green. We kind of lost the yellow, but I can still see the red and the green. And then the blue. And maybe what we can do is let's switch it up. Let's start with the blue. Maybe that's something we can do. We'll start with the blue, the more dense substance, even though the more dense it is, the more likely it is to sink. We'll add some green. We'll get to the red. Oh, okay. Oh, see, and I can see the blue sinking to the bottom, so it's blending because it's the most dense. So I think what we definitely want to do is start with the least dense here. Red, orange, green, blue. Ooh, this one kind of worked out. It's really pretty. Just play around at home. The pipette wins over the baster. So in case anybody was wondering what worked best for me, yeah, let me know how it goes. Just wanted to quickly say thank you very much for watching. Today's projects for me were a lot about learning how to deal with when things don't look like they do on YouTube or on the internet or anything like that. So I just want you to, really be aware and like take into account that not everything is gonna work out exactly how you want it to, but it's all about experimenting and experiencing. And I hope that you set this up at home because it's really fun and it gets kind of messy and it's super colorful. And I know we all love rainbows. So that's something really fun you can do at home. And I just want to say thank you so much for watching. As always, please comment your first and your last name below. Email me a video of you doing these projects. And just thank you. And I miss you. And I will see you all very, very soon, I hope. All right. At least online. So I hope to interact with you on the comments. Bye, guys.